Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. ATR podcast. Gio Garcia here. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda. Back in the building for another episode. A lot of boxing, Chris. Man, a lot of boxing. It's back. Is it? Is it, Chris? Are we back?
I think it's back again. Shout out to the UK fans. Shout out to the UK atmosphere, man. They really put on and Gio, they left us a nice little classic to remember, man. Let's get started.
Yeah, so that fight that you're referring to is the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. rematch. Wow. You know, it was a bit surprising. We talked about it last week,
Mhm.
this fight, this rematch. And you see the poll there that we posted 68% of the people, that was probably higher. I'm sure a lot of people voted after the fact, but 68% of the people were going with Eubank Jr. again in the rematch, only 32% for Conor Benn. Now, we knew that, Conor Benn was able to hurt Eubank Jr. at the end of last fight. That was earlier this year. But in this one, hey man, if I would have saw Chris Eubank Jr. Doing his thing again to make weight, I would have probably changed my prediction. It looked like, he goes a little to the extreme, when it's time to make weight. Um, and this was at 160, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, Conor Benn 168, 160. I gotta make sure I check that to make sure it's accurate. But Conor Benn actually weighed in heavier than Eubank Jr., which was surprising. And yeah, Eubank being 36 years old, he looked 36. He fought like it. He got hurt in the last round. He went down twice. And at the end of the day, it was a pretty easy decision to score for Conor Benn.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, Gio. I actually had Eubank before the fight. I picked him to win. I just thought he was gonna be too big. I thought he was gonna be again just in his moment. Again, he said it, he struggled to make weight. It showed on fight night. Uh Conor Benn was just the better man, first to every punch, smoother, crispier. Not a whole lot of technique from both guys, but just beating Ben and doing it convincingly. I didn't think he was gonna have the power, just going off of that first fight to knock the bigger Chris Eubank Jr. But like you said, just him struggling to make that weight, it drained him and it showed. And again, props to Conor Benn for capitalizing on this rematch.
Yeah, shout out to everyone checking in the live chat. Shout out to Kyle checking in. Shout out to Big Bro. The best part, Big Bro says, was the Mini 50 concert. You can't come out to Mini Man, Wanksta, and I'll whoop your head, boy, and lose, he says. True story.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought honestly, again, I thought that Chris Eubank was going to win this fight. I predicted him to win before. And when I saw that entrance, Gio, we're big 50 Cent fans. It gave me, Eminem, Joaquin Crawford out vibes. I was like, it's over. I mean, you take my money now. And again, it was just Conor Benn's night. You know, Conor Benn wanted to get a W on that Ben name. They've been taking L's, for the last 2, 3 decades. So he wanted to rewrite history. He did, and so again, shout out to the Eubanks for making a nice little in ring entrance. Again, how'd you have the services of 50 Cent? Did you how much you got to pay? How much you had to shell off that bag? I don't know, but it was entertaining all around nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a bit, I would say surprising. It was a great surprise to see 50 out there in London. I mean, the fight was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so he was over there. Terence Crawford was over there. They brought out the American celebrities, you can say. So that was pretty cool to see. But going back to the fight itself, 119, 107, 116, 110, and 118, 108. Eubank Jr. down twice in the 12 to seal the deal for Conor Benn, who says he's going to go back down to 147. He wants a challenge for the title. I heard him say Rolly's name. I heard him say Ryan Garcia's name. So that should be very, very interesting. It was at 160, just to confirm the weight. So he'll be moving back down. He didn't look bad. He didn't look bad. I believe he weighed in at 159.8 158 or zero point 0.9, and Eubank Jr. surprisingly weighed in at 159.1. So yeah, I think this is probably close to the end for Eubank Jr. You see it there, 35-4, 36 years old now. Whereas Connor Benn, 24-1 now, 14 KOs, 29 years old. So, I think this win brings him back a little bit, and yeah, I'm sure he'll get big fights. I'm sure Eddie Hearns will work to get him some big fights.
Yeah, let me just say, Gio, past controversies, there's a lot of people that wrote off Conor Benn before these two fights, and I feel like these have been the two fights that have, kind of resurrected him. It's kind of endeared him to the massive boxing fan base. Again, that first fight, I give him props, all the props in the world, again, for giving a great account of himself, even in defeat. We clearly saw that he was the smaller man in that first fight, but he just kept coming. He just kept coming. He again, I said again, he looked like that little guy that was standing up to the bully in the schoolyard. So again, respects to him on that first fight, and then the second one to clearly win this fight, to get those two knockdowns, almost got a knockout. Man, that, and again, what he does for his family name, you can see the reaction from his father, from his mom at the end of that fight. There was a lot of family healing done just with him getting that huge W over the Eubank. So again, I think this endears him, puts him back in the mix. I As much as I want to say go to 154 and try to get some big names cash out, that's the glamour division. I'm not mad at him going down to 147. I don't know if his body can do it. I don't know if it's the smartest thing physically, Gio, but I think it's very smart. That division's wide open, and he went up to fight a bigger guy. I wouldn't be mad if he goes down to 147 and tries to pick up a belt. Again, I think he deserves it. I think he's giving fight fans a fight that they've been clamoring, and so I think he gets a little bit of a pass going down to 147 and picking up a belt. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think he needs a belt to get those big fights in the states. I think he's a name, not a household name. Obviously, he's not a Ryan Garcia. I don't even think he's a Rollies, but I think with a belt, definitely he'll be able to get those big fights. Salute to Jesus checking in, Jesus. But yeah, I think that's all I have on this one, and I agree. The highlight, the 50 Cent concert.
Question, Gio. Obviously, they split it one apiece. Um, there's always going to be a number. There's always going to be a big payday, especially in the UK. If they were to run it a third time, I know. Ben said that it's done. It's finished. One apiece. They can walk away. Do you think there's too much money involved for it not to be run a third time? Do you think they go their separate ways and that's it?
Yeah, it didn't seem like they were both, especially Ben, like he wanted the third fight. Eubank kind of left the door open. But yeah, I'm sure if they can't get a big fight and if the money's there, I'm sure they can make it happen again in the UK and it'll be a big fight. Do we want to see it? Hmm, probably not. Not at 160. I think Eubank Jr. is struggling a lot to make 160. But I wouldn't rule it out. I feel like it's a 60-40 that happens again.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more of a 30-70. I think they don't run it back, but money's too great. They would have to fight other guys, 3, 4 fights to make the money I feel like they make fighting each other. So I say no, it doesn't happen right now, but I mean, it's fresh. Give me 4 months, a year, 2 years. You never know. I agree with you. I don't want to see it at 160 if they're running back 164 and above. And I feel like we would get a third rubber match and great action if they were to run it back, and they would be sealed for life, on the financial side. But yeah, shout out again to Conor Benn. Can't wait to see what he does at 147 if he does indeed go down to that division.
All right, let's keep it on British boxers for now because there was some big news, right? Surprising, I would say. But we know that Jake Paul fight versus Tank Davis fell through. It was an exhibition, I believe. Um, but Jake Paul's now supposed to fight Anthony Joshua, right, Chris? So what
Yeah.
are our thoughts on that? We knew there was rumors. This is what Jake Paul posted on his page. Jake versus Joshua. Friday, December 19th on Netflix in Miami. It says professional heavyweight bout.
That's crazy. When I heard that, I was like, is Jake nuts? Again, props to him for being able to get the biggest, names and get people talking. But fluctuating from 135 to 230 to 30 plus is insane. Again, Anthony Joshua obviously came up short with the best of the heavyweight names. And but we've seen what he had done to non true boxers. That 1-2 punch is lethal, Gio. And again, I unless there's a script there and Anthony Joshua follows it, I think it's borderline suicide for Jake Paul to take this fight. Well, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree. We saw what Anthony Joshua was able to do to Francis Ngannou, who was highly regarded in the MMA world, and he's a big guy. He's about Anthony Joshua size. Jake Paul is not. So yeah, I strongly believe that he can get seriously hurt. Will Anthony Joshua hold back? No, he didn't against Ngannou. Knocked him out cold. We'll see. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, let me ask you: do you think it goes through? Do you think it happens, or do you think just like Tank Davis, the wheels fall off of this one?
I don't know, but it's great promotion already. I think it happens. Honestly, uh, we got to see how big that bag is. Obviously, if Jake Paul's doing this, is because it's worth it, and for Joshua as well. Imagine if Paul beats AJ, says Frank. That would be insane. That 100% would tarnish Anthony Joshua's legacy.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Gio, and I think I was probably naive. I mean, I know that there was always a chance of a script playing out. I want to say I was a little naive with the whole Mike Tyson fight, even though I knew Mike Tyson was older than old. I thought that he was not going to follow a script, and after round one, then it was kind of evident that he was holding back. Do you think what percentage do you feel a script is followed in that fight if it goes through Joshua and Paul?
I think there's a high chance, honestly. I think there's a high chance. Um, the fight isn't December 19th. It's coming up already,
Yeah.
about a month from now. Someone in the comments, let me see, said AJ is ready from what I understand, says Kyle. Man, we'll see. I think there will be some type of script to follow. But yeah, I think it would be almost incredible, insane, hard to believe if Paul's able to pull this out.
Yeah. Again, if there's a script to be followed, it's probably somebody whispering in AJ's ear, "Hey, make it a little competitive, but don't knock him out. Hold a little bit back." If AJ was to flat out, knock him out, like you said, just like in Ghana, that'd be like, okay, Joshua is not here to play around. But yeah, we'll see what happens again. Like you said, it's coming up fast. I didn't know it was going to come up that quick. I feel like I haven't been paying too much attention to that just because I want to pay attention more to the true boxing. But hey, we're still going to tune in. We have said in the past, Jay Paul knows how to market himself. He knows how to entertain, and he knows how to put on big fights. So we're going to be watching some one way or another. But yeah, I want to see how much of the fix is in. So December 19th, we'll see how much.
Yeah. Hmm. So yeah, from what I'm reading here, it seems like Eddie Hearn and Joshua were ready for him to fight at the end of the year, looking for a possible still a fight with Tyson Fury in 2026. So yeah, it sounds like yeah he might be ready. He was probably already training. He was probably already in shape. But yeah, very interesting. Very interesting that it's in Miami as well. Paul has been fighting over there, on that side of the U.S. But yeah, I think this is interesting nonetheless. And Well, I'm sure we'll continue to talk about it. I'm sure more details will come out as well. But I can't say I'm mad at it because I think if things go like they should, I think this will be a great example of that great quote. Um, you don't play boxing, right?
Yeah.
If Joshua was able to do what he did to Ngannou to Jake Paul, I think this might be the end of this journey that has been entertaining, I would say, for Jake Paul. He made a lot of money. It's been lucrative. But at the end of the day, you don't play boxing.
Yeah, and let's not kid ourselves, Gio. Joshua taking on Jake Paul is probably going to be one of the highest paydays of his career. Outside of a few names, there's not a lot of fights that you could put Joshua across where he's going to make career high paydays. So again, even though Jake Paul is not a true boxer in the sense of the word, he's a huge name, and he's going to bring Joshua a huge payday. So I'm not mad at that business side, Gio.
If AJ don't KO him within a minute, it's fixed. Plain and simple, says Big Bro.
Yeah, to me, if it goes over 4 rounds, the fix is in. Again, you can only give so much, kind of leeway to a non-true boxer that has an amateur background. So yeah, man. Again, I think the fix is in. I think he's gonna let him survive uh, a few rounds. But come on, this is AJ, a 230 plus pounder. So it shouldn't go the distance, at all.
There might be a weight limit, says Big Bro, 245 pounds. Let's see what else we see here. We all know it's bogus, says Jesus.
Is there a pay-per-view, Gio? Is this on Netflix? Do we know the deets?
Let me see. Let me go back to
I mean,
the.
if it's on Netflix, I mean, I'll watch. If it's on
Yeah.
Netflix. I'm already subscribed. I'll watch.
I got to read through it, but I haven't looked much into it. It just says Netflix. I don't see pay per view on it. So it looks like it's just live on Netflix. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Again, we'll see what happens. Again, it's not too far out. It's on Netflix. I'm already subscribed. I'll watch it. I'll watch to see the fix. But yeah, don't. Yeah, if somehow Jake Paul wins, which is I give him 5 to 10%. I yeah, it'd be a sad day for boxing.
All right, last comment here from this fight. Big Pro says he's disappointed. He's kind of disappointed in Joshua. Let me see. Disappointed in AJ after the Ngannou fight. He should have walked away from the circus fights, he says.
Yeah. Again, I know AJ has come up short in those biggest fights. Obviously, I would say he's a bit of a damaged goods, but yeah, he's tarnishing his legacy a la Mayweather just a little bit right here. So hopefully he doesn't sell out fully, but a ver qué pasa.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. And let's go ahead and move on to what's going on this Saturday because we have some very good action Saturday, November 22nd, live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Big Turk doing his thing again. Obviously headlined by Benavidez and Anthony Yard. Brian Norman Jr. defending his title against Devin Haney. Jesse Bam Rodriguez is on there against Fernando Daniel Martinez. Abdullah Mason is on the undercard. Arthur Beterbiev has dropped out. He's no longer on the card. That's something to note. But still should be a very good card nonetheless. To me, probably the highlight, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. But obviously that welterweight bout between Norman Jr. and Devin Haney should also be a very good one and probably the most 50-50 fight on this card.
Yeah, Joe, let me just say obviously there was a sexy Saudi Arabia card earlier in the year that I went to. But if I could get my money back and go see a card, this one looks pretty good, Gio. Again, Devin Benavidez always brings action. Anthony Yard always comes forward. He's been in some great fights with Kovalev, with Beterbiev. So again, even though I know we have our criticism of UK fighters, Yard is one that brings the action that you're going to get a good fight, whether he wins, ties, or loses. So I'm excited for that fight. I think you know who we're rooting for, who we're gonna put our prediction. But I see this fight kind of testing Benavidez, especially in the early to mid rounds, and we'll see what transpires. But it looks like both these guys respect each other. Benavidez gave Yard a lot of respect for taking this fight. So again, I'm excited for this fight. Uh, dude, Devin Haney, Norman Jr. Man, I've been big on Devin Haney up until he started kind of, unraveling a little bit. I've always liked his skills, his defensive, game. But Norman Jr. is growing. I mean, again, down a fighter from down south in Georgia. You don't get a lot of guys from there. I like how he carries himself. No nonsense, just he's coming here to do his job. And so again, style clash, like you said, very, very close fight. I'm excited for that fight. Of course, Bam, great kid, great talent, generational talent, in my opinion. I gotta ask you, of all those fights, which one is the one that you are most excited about?
Yeah, I think Bam Rodriguez. I think he's must-watch TV at the moment. He's in his prime. He's one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and he's up. He's up against a very tough opponent, a good challenge. You know,
Yeah.
before we move on to everything that's on the card, what would be your answer to that question?
Man, again, I feel like obviously the heavies get a little bit more love, a
Hey,
little bit
yo.
more power there. Man, but this is tough. I feel like each fight is gonna have their own thing. The smaller guys, we're gonna see technique. We're gonna see a lot of back and forth stamina there. Lots of punches being thrown. Man, I'm intrigued by Devin Haney, Norman Jr. just because the smaller, more technical guy going up against the stronger Norman Jr. A little bit more, you know, doesn't say a lot. Oh, I'm really divided. This is a good problem to have, Gio, where you're like, I don't know what fight is best, but man, I'm gonna say Devin Haney, Norman Jr. just because they're right in the middle. I feel like you get a little bit of power, you're gonna get a little bit of skill, so I'm gonna say that one. But I could be wrong. Come fight Night, Gio. Any one of those fights can steal the show. What about you?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Bam. Sticking with Bam. You see, what we have on there. Uh, let's begin with Abdullah Mason. Someone gave him
Yeah.
a shout out. Couple shout outs here in the chat. He's up against an undefeated fighter. Where am I at? Here we go. Abdullah Mason going up against Sam Noakes from the United Kingdom. 17 and 0, 15 KOs, 28 years old. Fighting a guy from the UK, basically. All his fights over in the UK. First time outside of his country, it seems like. And of course, Abdullah Mason, 21 years old, 19 and 0, 17 KOs. Man, you see there some good momentum. Jeremiah Nakatila stopped him in 5. He started fighting some veterans fairly early on. I would say they're moving him along pretty quickly. You see some of his opponents' records there: Ornelas 28 and 4, Jaimes 16 and 2, Vasquez 26 and 5, Ohan 19 and 2, Luis Lebron 20 and 5. So he's fighting guys with good experience, but this one probably the toughest of his career. 17 and 0. Sam Noakes should be a very good test for Abdullah Mason, and a pretty big stage, man. We've seen him a lot on those ESPN top rank undercards now, making the trip to Saudi, and he's on a big card, one of the biggest cards of the year. Let's see what Abdullah Mason can do, man. He was our what, 2023, I believe, prospect of the year, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah. No, and like you said, Joe, this one's a good test. This kind of fight, where you have a young fighter, very talented prospect, accolades, potential. When you match somebody like that against an older, veteran or in their prime kind of fighter that's, has some tough fights, but always come out on top. You said a huge knockout percentage there. That's a dangerous fight. It reminds me of the Ashton Silva versus Body fight. A lot of people are going to pick the young prospect, but nothing's easy, nothing's given. You could be winning every single round, and then a punch comes from the veteran, from somebody that has the experience. It could be it could be an upset. So I saw the odds. I think Abdullah is only a minus 350 favorite. So that kind of shows you Sam Noakes is not somebody to just overlook. So again, it's going to be a good test, tough test. I think it's going to be a little bit more competitive. Again, we've seen Abdullah in that last I think it was 3 fights ago where he was tested. He dropped his opponent and he came back. So I feel like we might see a little bit of that, but again, nothing is given. He's gonna have to be on his A game. This veteran here he's ready to upset. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for this fight. It's not gonna be known by a whole lot of boxing fans, but this one might be, a type of fight of the night.
Noakes plus 300, Mason minus 430. But the chat says, hey, don't be, Frank Lara says, don't be surprised if Mason loses. I'm just saying. Not sure if they did this on purpose, but I realized the main card fights progressively up in weight, says Kyle. Looking forward most of the Bam and Mason fight, says Big Bro. Yeah, and as you take a look at Sam Noakes's resume here, he's been fighting guys with some good experience. In his debut, he fought a guy, how much is that? 68, 72 fights. 959 with 4 draws was his first opponent. Experience. And if you look later down the road, a guy who was 5-0, Thomas Connolly, 7-56. This guy Ali, 2-70. Come on, man, give it up, please. What's going on here, man? Hey, that's a lot of fights, man. That's some good side money there. 11-2, 15-4, 12-0, 10-0, 19-7, 13-0, 48-6, 21-4, 29-4, 13-4. So he's not fighting chumps. Very good record, very good KO percentage. As we said, very good test for Abdullah Mason, who has also taken on some veterans, and he's a very mature 21-year-old, I would say. So yeah, that's definitely one fight to look out for. What else do we have here? Let's go straight to Bam Rodriguez, Chris. 22-0, 15 KOs, 25 years old out of San Antonio, Texas. He's coming off of the fight against Fumelela Cafu. Stopped him in 10. He stopped Pedro Guevara in 3. He stopped Juan Francisco Estrada El Gallo in 7. He stopped Sonny Edwards in 9. Great momentum by one of the top pound-for-pound talents, Jesse Bam Rodriguez against Fernando Daniel Martinez, 18-0, 9 KOs, representing Buenos Aires, Argentina, who defeated Kazuto Ioka twice. There he defeated Jerwin Ancajas twice as well. So, he's got some good momentum going on for him too. But I don't know, man. 34 years old, up against one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Looking tough for Martinez.
No, I agree. I think it's going to be a good test for Bam against Puma Martinez. Of course, Martinez wants to reach the heights of another Martinez, another Argentina great in Sergio Maravilla, and he's going to have to do it, against one of the very best up-and-coming fighters of this generation. So, tough ask, tough assignment. I think he's going to give a good account of himself. I think he's going to give Bam trouble and make it competitive until Bam's technique and his skills just show up. Again, we've seen the knockout percentage there for Martinez, not very high. Usually outboxes and outworks his opponents, but I think I find it very difficult against somebody as talented as Bam Rodriguez. And again, it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be lots of action, lots of punches being thrown, lots of technique being shown from these smaller fighters. But I feel like Bam is just on a whole another level, whole another sphere. And again, I'm just impressed, Gio, with the names that he keeps, calling out, the names that he keeps adding to his resume. Uh, yeah, man, sky's the limit for Bam. And again, such a disciplined kid, such a technician. Again, heard stories from Mikey Garcia, just recounting Bam. When Bam was little, he said after Bam was done training, he would sit in that corner and just watch everything that I did. Like he would stay an hour after his own training just to watch what Mikey did. So he was absorbing, learning, and we see the results now. So again, I think it's going to be another statement for Bam Rodriguez, but I do see it being very competitive early on. But yeah, man, Bam Rodriguez, Joe.
He's going to make a statement, says Frank Lara. And look, it looks like it. Minus 1,000 to minus 900, they have him so far. About plus 550 to plus 600 for Martinez. So, yeah, that tells you everything, man. A lot of people have a ton of faith in Bam Rodriguez. Do we want to give official predictions or do we want to wait, Chris?
I was gonna say I don't think it's gonna be minus 1,000 because it's gonna be competitive, but I think that just shows the faith that people have in that Bam is gonna have his hand raised again. If Puma were to win, Gio, would it? I always say this. I always throw it out there. Would it be one of the upsets of the year?
Yes, Chris. Yep, 100%.
All right, let's prediction time. Do you want to do it now, Gio, or
let's do it now? Let's go with Sam Noakes and Abdullah Mason first.
I'm not gonna go against our prospect, even though I know it's gonna be a tough fight, and it's Abdullah Mason has to be 100% focused. So I'm gonna say Abdullah Mason. I'm gonna say he's tested and it becomes a decision.
I wanted to say the same, but I'll risk it. I'm gonna say Mason will stop him probably late. He goes well to the body. He goes well upstairs. We know what happens to them Brits, Chris. Something happens. However, they're practically home in Saudi Arabia, so that might change things. But yeah, I think decision is very likely for Abdullah Mason. I'm gonna risk it though, with Abdullah Mason stoppage. I think you got one up on me this past weekend, right? You predicted the correct method. Who was it? I'm already forgetting.
Did you say Virgil? Was it Virgil getting the knockout? I think you said he was going to win the distance.
Yeah, my bad. 2 weeks ago, yeah. You got that Virgil one. So try to make up for it. So I'm going Abdullah Mason KO. I'm going Jesse Bam Rodriguez. I'm gonna go stoppage as well. Man, it's hard to keep this guy off you. He mentioned that his last fight against Cafu was probably his toughest because Cafu didn't want to engage. He was very durable. He said I hit him with everything and he wasn't going anywhere. So yeah, it's nearly impossible to keep Bam off you. He's too skilled. He comes with the angles, inside, outside. He can brawl with you a little bit. He can box with you. He's hard to hit as well. I'm going to go Bam stoppage as well.
I'm going to agree, and I want to separate myself from you a little bit, but I cannot say that Bam's not getting a knockout. Again, he doesn't look for the knockout. He puts his punches together and he finds openings. So I say he does that, and he does it in a method that will get him a TKO. So yeah, I agree. Bam by TKO as well.
All right, there you have it. Let's go. Let's move on to Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. 28 and 0, 22 knockouts for Brian Norman Jr. 24 years old, out of Georgia. Not a ton on his resume. He did stop Giovanni Santillan, which that's impressive. Santillan, who was undefeated. He was coming off some good momentum. You see, after that, Alexis Rocha KO. And he got a couple wins after that as well. Giovanni Santillan, who's now 34-1. But as I said, he was undefeated. Brian Norman Jr. stopped him. And now, he's a champion at 147. And he has the biggest fight of his career against Devin Haney, who is 32-1. Well, they haven't no there, Chris. They haven't no on box rec, but let's be real. 32-1. Devin Haney, 15 KOs, 27 years old. Representing, I guess, Vegas now, but born in San Francisco. You see that W against Jose Carlos Ramirez in his last fight, May of this year. Last year was when he had that big loss versus Ryan Garcia on April 20th, which was subsequently turned into a no contest due to Ryan Garcia testing positive for I don't know how many substances. He got the W against Regis Progrerius, and then the one with the asterisk against Vasily Lomachenko in 2023. This should be a good one, man. 147. Both guys undefeated, quote unquote. Brian Norman Jr. with the power, Devin Haney with the boxing skills. This one's going to be tough to predict. Just rewinding a little bit. Mason within 7, 8, says Big Bro. At least he didn't say 6, 7, huh? Bam stoppage and 8 or 9, he says. Just my opinion, but Norman versus Haney might be another Maidana versus Broner. Ooh, says Frank.
Possible. It's possible. It's possible. But, all right, so am I hearing right? You're going with Norman Jr.?
I haven't said a word, Chris. I haven't said a word. I don't know where you got that from.
Yeah, no, I agree. This one's tricky, man. This is tricky because it could go either way. I mean, and one way we can predict is going to be an outright boxing lesson from Devin Haney if Norman Jr. really isn't even near or close to his scale, and maybe he doesn't have the power to catch Devin Haney. Or, like you just mentioned, it might be, that Brian Norman Jr.'s power catches Haney and it makes him buckle, and we get a Ryan Garcia point two. So yeah, man. Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
I will allow you to go first. I have my mind made up, so I want to hear what you have to say. Do you want to look at the odds beforehand, or?
Yeah, last time I checked, they were pretty close.
You need some help here, Chris? Look at Chris buying himself some time. Let's go to this first, all right? I posted a poll up on our channel. Let's see how many votes are on there. I just posted it before the podcast. There's 15 votes so far. You want to take a look at this first?
Yeah, I think I already made up my mind.
All right.
Again, I'm gonna give my prediction. Even though I like Brian Norman Jr., I like the kid. I like the way he carries himself, talks. Very humble. I want to say that Devin Haney. Hopefully, he doesn't get humbled. I think he's gonna win a decision, but I could be wrong. Again, I'm trying to separate myself. I'm gonna try to use my logic in this one, and I could be wrong, but I'm gonna say Devin Haney busts a Regis Progrerius and wins a decision.
Okay. Look, they have it pretty even. Slight favorite, Devin Haney. Some of them have it pretty even. Devin Haney by decision. It's probably the more popular one. They have even money at -112 for both fighters. They have it on FanDuel, which is kind of surprising to me. Let's see how our poll is looking. I'm just gonna go with. You said Norman, right? I'm just gonna let's put Norman to mess up the odds over here. 50-50 so far. There's only 16 votes, 8 and 8 on our poll. We'll see how that looks tomorrow or before fight night. I was thinking about this today, and I will have to agree. I think Devin Haney decision. I feel like he finds a way to lose. I'm sorry, to win. He finds a way to how not to lose, Chris. Even when he lost, he still didn't end up losing. So, yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think he figures it out. I'm not sure I trust the lack of experience you can say in championship fights by Brian Norman Jr. I will be rooting for Norman. However, I'm not sure he gets it done. All right, I don't have too much faith.
Yeah, to me, I'm not 100% on my decision. Again, I feel like Brian Norman Jr. He's a silent assassin. Again, I didn't know who he was when I went down to San Diego to see him uh, face Santillan down there, and I was impressed by his power, Gio. Again, that uppercut landed perfectly. Santillan was not able to recover, and by the end of the night, I was like, "Who's this guy?" So again, I Norman Jr. carries himself, very well, very humble. So I wouldn't be mad if I'm wrong. I'm just kind of going based off of logic, experience. Even though it's a smaller guy coming up, I'm just banking on the skills. But if I'm wrong, then Brian Norman's a goods, and I'll take my L, man. But yeah, Devin Haney by decision, locking that in.
All right, I like it. Yeah. Big Bro says, let me see. Sorry, Gallo. Yeah, you're about to phone a friend, huh? Buying yourself some time. Norman chins Haney within 5. Does him worse than Queen Rye, he says. Man, that could definitely happen. Let's see how Devin Haney's confidence and chin holds up. I just don't think he might take any risks, honestly. But yeah, I hope Norman can catch him. And if he wins, I would really, really hope that he does not get sued by Devin Haney and team.
Yeah, I don't see Devin Haney staying in the pocket. Again, Norman's power will hurt Devin. So I just see Devin Haney getting on his bike and boxing, boxing, boxing. And, if he learned from that Ryan Garcia fight, he will walk away with his hand raised. But we'll see what layers Norman Jr. has up his sleeve. Again, I'm okay being wrong, Gio, if the fighters prove it.
Yeah, we'll see. Very intriguing fight. Let's move on to the main event. However, Devin Benavidez, 30-0, 24 KOs, 28 years old, building a little bit of a resume now, kind of fighting some of the guys who've already been stopped by the top guys. But hey, better than nothing, I guess. He's fighting Anthony Yarde, 27-3, 24 KOs. He is 34 years old. He's coming off some victories there, 4 in a row after getting stopped by Arthur Beterbiev in 2023. He's also lost to Sergey Kovalev. And what was his other loss? Did I miss it here? Did I lose it somewhere? Kovalev, Lyndon Arthur by split, and lost to Arthur Beterbiev by KO. Chris, I don't even have to look at the odds. I'm pretty sure I know what they look like already. This should be a one-sided fight for David Benavidez. Not much of a challenge in my opinion. Not sure he stops Anthony Yarde though. We'll see how much Yarde has left. I haven't given much thought to my final prediction, so I'll let you go first. But yeah, I think this should be pretty one-sided. I didn't even bother putting the poll up, Chris. Who's gonna vote for Anthony Yarde? Come on, not even the British mates will vote for Anthony Yarde. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it's all meant to be this. Again, props to Yard for stepping up and taking this fight, even though it is in his division. I agree with Benavidez. I don't think there's a lot of guys that want to fight him. He's got fast hands. He's got power. He's got that come forward, Antonio Margarito kind of style without the loaded gloves. So again, that's a tough kind of fight to even pick up. So yeah, I'm gonna say David Benavidez locking it in. He wins this fight by knockout. I think it's competitive, up until like the 6th, 7th round. But I think Yarde gasses out. He comes up short in the biggest fights. In those fights where they just drown you. And so yeah, David Benavidez TKO between the 7th and the 9th rounds. You.
Okay. Man, this is a tough one. I think Yarde might survive. I don't know. Not too impressed with Benavidez's power, especially fighting some of those bigger guys, some of those veterans. He won a unanimous versus Vostik. Not sure how Vostik was out of the ring for nearly 4 years. He won a unanimous versus David Morrell. He was able to get to Morrell quite a few times in that fight. I think Yarde might survive. We'll see if he goes out there and looks like Chris Eubank Jr. or if he looks like the old young Yard, right? Obviously, when you see him get stopped versus guys like Beterbiev, that's a different type of power. I don't think Benavidez has that type of power. But yeah, hopefully he doesn't age overnight. Yard, I'm gonna go with decision for the monster David Benavidez. Let's see what some of the people in the comments are saying. Yard is gonna chin Benavidez, but he'll survive and stop Yard late. He says, "Big bro, Yard will be dangerous early, but David going to break him down," says Frank.
I completely agree with that statement. Benavidez does get caught early in fights. I feel like him coming forward, he leaves himself open here and there. That's gonna be Yard's best shot, just to like knock him down, or catch him right in the chin early coming in, and not letting him get up, not letting him survive. That's, in my opinion, his best shot. The longer this fight goes, the better Benavidez gets, and the worse the other fighter is, because as the Kyle said, David just breaks you down. So again, with Morel was having some good rounds early on. Obviously, that amateur pedigree, that style was giving Benavidez fits first few rounds, but Benavidez just breaks you down. So yeah, I expect another W for Benavidez by way of TKO or knockout. But I wouldn't be mad if we get 12 rounds of action, Joe. I wouldn't mind 12 rounds of action from this guy. So anytime this guy fights, I'm watching.
Yeah, and I don't mind this being the headliner, technically, because you got Bam Rodriguez, who's an exciting fighter. You got a welterweight fight, Norman and Haney title fight. But I think on paper, this is probably supposed to be the more exciting fight. I feel like both guys are gonna come forward, as long as they could. So yeah, I'm not mad at this being the headliner. I think it's a good way to end the show. And thank you, boxing. Thank you, Turkey, man. We have a lot to talk about this week. It's great. It's great to be back. I would say it's great to talk about, these big fights, and we're getting a lot of big fights on one card. So yeah, it's another one of those exciting Riyadh season cards. So thank you,
Yeah.
boxing. Thank you, Turkey. Big Turk, come sponsor us, man. We're still waiting. Still waiting for the call, email, text, whatever. Drop a comment.
Yeah. And again, Gio, in February when they had that huge card, people were saying that was going to be the card of the year, and let's be honest, it felt a little flat. It didn't deliver fully come fight night. But this one might. So again, I feel like I know we teased it and we joked about it early on. Will there be another fight? As much as we want to give that fight card the fight card of the year, there were so many months, and so this one could steal that award. So I'm hoping we get fireworks. I agree with you. I think that main event is going to deliver on that, and all the other fights have potential to do so as well. So I'm excited for this Saturday. Obviously Saudi Arabia. So are we getting that midday fight, or are they adjusting for this side of the world? Gio, do you know?
I don't, but I'll look it up right now while you entertain the peoples.
Yeah, but again, I'm excited for these fights, Gio. Again, I'm most divided on that Devin Haney Norman Jr. Again, I wouldn't mind being wrong if Norman gets his hand raised the appropriate way, the plus another Santillan. I would not be mad at that. Again, I do like Devin Haney. I do like his skills. I don't like the outside antics, the crying, the suing, that dad speaking for him. I think with all of that, he would be more revered by the boxing fans. But we'll see. Again, just like Conor Benn, you can get the fans back on your side, depending on what you do on your last fight. So we'll see what Devin Haney does. He's got a good challenge in front of him. In my opinion, he's moving up, fighting a title holder, a strong one. So yeah, man, I'm excited for fight night.
Yeah, so it says the main event ring walks are expected around 9:04. Wow, very specific. 9:04 Eastern Time, PM, 6:04 p.m. Pacific Time to be specific. The
That's main event.
Yeah, that's the main event. The DAZN pay-per-view starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. 12 p.m. I think they try to put here Pacific. So from noon till about 6 p.m. we have a ton of boxing. That's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, no, again, man, Gio, again, obviously post Canelo Crawford, we took a dip. November is finishing with this kind of card, and then obviously we get anyway. Um, I saw somewhere rumors of an Alexander Usyk fight. We'll see if there is one at the end of the year. But yeah, man, again, I'm excited for this one. I'm a big fan of David Benavidez. I think he's great for boxing. Obviously, he had some drama early in his career, but I feel like he's a potential face of boxing, and if he continues to deliver and continues to rack up, bigger names, I think that was one of your criticisms early on. He can turn a believer out of many other fight fans. So see what happens come fight night. Again, expecting a TKO on his behalf, but lots of fights there that can steal the night.
Yeah, Chris, and look, we almost made it through a whole show talking about David Benavidez and not talking about Canelo. All right, so that's very good for David Benavidez. I think he made or tried to make a career out of calling out Canelo, insulting Canelo, and now it looks like he's on his own path, creating his own road, creating his own opportunities, and we're not talking about Canelo not so much anymore when we're talking about Benavidez. So I think that's a very good thing. Smart of him to attach his name to Canelo, but to me, it's smarter, I think, to try to face some of those top names. He has a belt now. I mean, it was emailed to him, but he has a belt nonetheless at 175. So I believe he's on the right path.
Yeah, and I think he's made peace with that. As much as he wanted to get the big payday and he wanted to have his name attached, etched alongside Canelo, win, lose or draw, I think he, made peace that hey, I'm moving on to bigger, better things. People in my own weight class, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I'm not gonna face this man, and I think that's what you got to do. Again, if the other person doesn't want to show up or has other plans, you just got to keep moving. Again, you can't let one person define your legacy. He's gonna have to make his own. So, props to him, in my opinion, Joe.
Yep. Let's go to some last comments here before we get out of here. We are 55 minutes in. Longer pod than we have been doing in the past few weeks, Chris. Hey, thanks to boxing. You see, we have a question here saying, how often do you guys go live, says Frank. We usually do once a week, man. Hey, if we had more to talk about, I would love to go live more than once, but boxing has been lacking, man. Boxing has been lacking. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
we go once a week, every Tuesday, around 8 o'clock, 8:15 Pacific time. That's usually the date. Sometimes we will adjust depending on schedules, but yeah, that's usually the day. Taco Tuesday, man. That's our date.
Usyk dropped the WBO. The WBO, is that what that says?
Right.
Let me see. Yeah,
Yeah,
WBO belt. So Fabio's now world champ. Is he really? Did they email him the championship? I know
I
Usyk
think they
dropped
elevated it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they elevated it.
Okay.
And from my understanding, that was going to be the next fight. Warley versus Usyk. I think Warley comes out of nowhere and gets a huge win and is a deserved challenger to Usyk's belt. So, yeah, that's what I heard is the next fight. And I would welcome it again. I know there's other names for Usyk, but if the man that you were supposed to face gets beat, then that man that beat him is deserving of that title shot.
Yeah, and man, freaking Joseph Parker, man. He could have been the champion right now. Instead, he lost and he got popped, right? He tested positive for what? Was it the
Pepper
snow?
cocaine?
Yeah, it was the
No.
the secret Benavides substance, right? That's what I heard too. That's what I read. Man, what a way to fumble the bag, Joseph Parker.
Joseph Parker, man, I'm gonna make a bad joke. Joseph Parker did the opposite of what Xander Zayas did. He took the long road to the front and then lost his spot, man. He camped out, did the whole line around the corner, and then he lost his spot in the last minute, man. That's unfortunate. Again, mad respect to Joseph Parker. Has fought everybody, but man, lost the marathon in that last stretch, man. Hopefully he bounces back, man. Shout out to Joseph.
Joe Sniff Parker, says Kyle. Joe Sniff Parker.
All right, pin that comment. That's the winner for the night. Oh man. Well, hopefully he comes back, man. Hopefully he comes back. But
Oh man.
back in the line.
All right, is that all we got for today?
I think that's it, man. We have we have a great fight card smack in the middle of the day. You know, we'll be done with these fights by 6:37. Enough time to go out. So I'm excited, man. Big Turk, like you said, yo. In time for Thanksgiving, Big Turk. We don't need no turkey. Let's go.
I don't even think it lets me pin any comments anymore. What's going on here, YouTube? Oh, there it is. Pin message. I almost put them on timeout on accident. My bad, playa.
Like, that's a haymaker that landed. That comment there, man. It's a money punch right there.
Shout out to Xander, man, catching strays for no reason. All right, man. That's
Xander cutting that line, man. Nobody said nothing.
Big Bro says, "Well, I didn't know he got popped."
I think he put a video out on Instagram, like trying to clear himself, but man, yeah, man. Hey, I don't know how they caught him, man. Victor Conte passed away, so they. I've been hearing so many crazy comments. Like if people start getting caught up, it's because Conte's out. So fans be wilding, Gio, on social media, man. That's all I gotta say.
No comment. No comment. I'll reserve it to myself. But hey, man, thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that sub button. I think you guys can hit the bell too, so you guys can get notified whenever we go live. But yeah, as Chris said, usually Tuesdays, 8:15 p.m. Pacific to be specific. We'll be back next week. We got to break down all the fights. We'll see how we did with our predictions. I promise I'll have the prediction chart up to date. I haven't updated that thing in a while. I feel like I say this every week, but yeah, I gotta update that thing. And yeah, man, thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to all you guys who are checking out the replay. And yeah, we'll be back soon. Thanks, mates.
Hey, vámonos. Saudi, man. Let's go to Saudi Arabia. Let's go back.
That booger sugar, that Oscar. Oh man. Let's go, mate. That JC Chavez.
Got a 50. Vámonos.
Let's go, mates.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes. Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview, and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.